everybody knows we got Tanto on here. I'll talk a little bit about the format, Tanto, and kind of go through, because we have a lot of members on, and then we actually open this up to the public too. So we have a lot of folks that are not members that are on today. I mean, there's a ton of folks on today. So welcome everybody. Thank you for being
thanks,
here.
Guys. Thanks.
And this is a fun conversation. I've been excited about this and excited for everybody to hear a little bit of secrets and behind the scenes and some stuff that most people never heard about. But so again, welcome the members, E3 members, and then welcome to everybody else that are not members for joining us. And I'll tell you a little bit of the format. So we got a ton of questions that already came in from the members because they knew what we're doing. So the topic today is, we're calling it the 14th hour. So for everybody that knows Kris, you know Kris probably from, you know, his book, you know, 13 Hours in Benghazi, The Secret Soldiers, or maybe you've seen the movie.
Or the sunglass commercial, right?
Or the sunglass commercial. There you go. I don't know how you got talked into that one, brother, but that's okay.
You don't knock those $20 glasses. Those things are freaking awesome. And I've broken 3 pairs, and I don't feel bad when I break these things. The Oakleys, that pisses me off. No, but when I break the $20 ones, nah, I'm okay with
I hear you. But so hopefully everybody here knows Kris and knows Tanto. So we're gonna dive through. So I'm gonna probably interrupt you a lot, Kris, because we have so much. I know that even though we're really talking about the hours after the 13 hours. So if people saw the movie, if they've read the book, there's the things they haven't seen is what happens right after that, like the plane ride back, or even the truck ride from
the
consulate to the airport, or your first call to your wife, or what was your first dinner when you got back? What did they say to you? So we got a ton of stuff we're going to walk through, and we're going to try to keep as much in here. And everybody, this is part 1. So this is going to be an interesting conversation. I've already heard some of the fun stuff, and then we got some special gifts for everybody on the stream today that we're going to share with you towards probably mid part of the thing. So cool. I guess first, and you just said it, Kris, because if we're going to talk about kind of what happened after, and I know that we're going to get into when you go back to the base and all that kind of stuff, but the truck ride seemed to have been kind of interesting because you got off the roof, these guys showed up. It was Delta Force or some Delta Force. And then what you don't see in the movie is the ride from the annex, or from the base there to the airport. The annex to the airport. And you don't see that in the movie. You guys just end up being at the airport waiting for the planes. But what happened in that truck ride? Like, what was that like? Who were you with?
Well, the D boys came over, and I'll say D boys, that's what we call Delta. If you've served with them, it's kind of an endearing term, whether they like it or not, I don't really care. But the D boys, they came with 4 other GRS guys from Tripoli, which included Bub, who Glenn Doherty, who passed away that night. And then there was 3 other GRS guys that were there because we had a contingent, a detachment, or an attachment, or we were the attachment to the main force, which was in Tripoli. That was the most GRS guys. So they were there. Well, when the fighting was over, and we were loading up, the movie showed me, and you see Pablo Schreiber riding on the top, which is me, guys. That's me in the movie, riding on the top of a Hilux, a truck. And honestly, that wasn't the case. It was fine. Since we didn't promote the movie part exactly on the ride back, we didn't show a lot of the ride back. I didn't have a problem with them doing that, but I actually drove one of the sedans to the airport, and I took the D boys. The Delta guys were with me, and we were already still a bit seething when you see the D boys drop Roan's body off the rooftop. That did happen, guys, and actually we didn't show them also drop Bub's body off the rooftop as well. So we really weren't happy with them at that point, but the situation dictated that we got out of there, not getting a big fist fight with a couple of our own. So they got in the car with me. I do remember being extremely tired. I was so fatigued, tired. And I had my M4, I had a HK 416, and it was a short, it's about 8-inch barrel on that thing. And I remember I got in the vehicle and I was driving. So I'm right-handed. So I had it holding it right here. I was trying. My brain was not functioning. I was so tired. My brain just was not doing what my muscles were not doing what my brain wanted it to do. So before I got in the car, my brain was telling this arm, switch the gun over to the left hand so I could stow it right here instead of right here in the corner with the sedan, because it was going to be in the way. Sometimes it works in some vehicles. The sedan I was driving didn't work with me shoving it near between the driver's seat and the console. So I was trying to move it over here. I got in the car and my brain just forgot to do it. I was so tired. So when I got in, I sat down and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to, my brain muscles didn't work. My hand didn't switch, my gun didn't switch from the right hand to the left hand. So I was trying to bring my gun over the top of the steering wheel to get it situated so I could drive, and I couldn't do it. My brain, it was not registering. I kept bumping the steering wheel with the hand guard. And the D boy says, "Oh, I got you." And I'm like, I know we're good." And what was weird to me, or what was not weird, but was very, I guess the word I'm looking for, surprising to me. Those guys, they were panicking, just pinging. As I got it, and they were like, "We got to get out of here. We got to go. We got to go. We got to get." And I was very surprised because of supposed to be the maturity level when you get that high in the military, and they were younger than us. They weren't as old as we were.
Were these like seasoned guys, or are they just
well, when you get into the unit Delta, you're pretty seasoned. I mean, you're going to be in your 30s or upper 20s. You've been in the military for quite a while before you can even try out. At least 6 years. That's quite a long time. And you're coming from a special operations unit or a light infantry unit, or you can be in the Marine Corps or a SEAL as well, and still, because it crosses over. And so one was I didn't know at the time. One was a former Marine, and the other one was from 82nd, and spent a lot of time at 82nd. They were both high-ranking guys within their respective services before they came over. So, no, when you're a D boy, you are seasoned. You there's no rookies in D boy. You don't get to be a SF baby and go right into Delta after basic training. So, I was really surprised because throughout the night with Roan and Oz and Tig and Jack, everybody maintained their composure. The maturity levels shown. And so when I got in, I'm like, what in the world? And they were, and honestly, I said, dudes, lighten up, man. I said, we're not dead yet. They're not going to hit us. And that was my gut feeling, is the mortars had stopped and I knew the mortars had been taken out. And it was me, it's more like, you're throwing gasoline on the fire. And I said it briefly. And then I said, I got my weapon system. And actually what I did, I still couldn't, I just crossed it over my arm. So I had my rifle right here, and I was starting to head out the gate. As we headed out the gate, we got out the annex gate. We banged a right on Annex. We called it Annex Road. I'm sorry. We banged a left on Annex Road to head to Benina, and we had to stop to let the whole convoy consolidate, because if we would have took off, the convoy was so monstrous, it would have created that accordion effect that a lot of you that have worked with PSD elements and have worked in large motorcades know that that's the hardest thing to do, is not getting into attack or fighting your way out of attack. It's just keeping the convoy, especially if it's huge, together. And I remember we pulled out the gate and we were sitting there, and they were constantly, we got to go. And I was like, dudes, calm down. This is not, and it was not helping me at all, because I wanted to go too, but and I wouldn't say it was a panic, because they weren't panicked. They are tough guys. Delta, you get to Delta for a reason. You're top of your game, but it was the adrenaline that comes, I think, being able to control that adrenaline. It not becomes with experience, but becomes with maturity. I guess experience is part of that. But I saw, and that's where I saw, and I do speak on it a lot, and I do talk in my classes a lot. Maturity is important, just as important as skill sets. And I saw that right there at that time.
Well, I think levels. Also from the mindset of what you just went through for 2 days or a day, versus what your situation you were in with those guys was a cakewalk. But they just showed up, and to them they're in the middle of the shit. So it's and like now
and that's you look at it that way. But then the way I was trained is you look at the guys that you're coming in, how are they acting? It's like, think of it flying on an airplane and you start hearing turbulence. Who do you look at? You look at the flight attendants, right? If they're panicking, okay, something's bad happening. If they're not panicking, and you fly a lot, or the pilot, if you're in a little plane, if they're not, we're good to go. Well, that's how I always looked at whenever we went into a scene that maybe I was coming into new. I looked around at everybody there, especially the people that we were coming to support or supplement. How are they acting? All right, things are going bad. They're acting kind of calm. All right, I think we have control of the situation. And I knew how we were acting, because we'd been acting, and that's the testament to the team I was with. They're tremendous. The team was outstanding, and the age of the team helped a bunch. We were all Tig was 38. He was our youngest guy. You know, the rest of us were in our 40s. It's a testament for age and maturity levels, and just the calmness that was within that team that really, I think, more than the skill sets, helped us get through the night. The skill sets were great. We all had that skill set being where we are, but the maturity level was something that was different. And I was already, you know, and I was still pissed at them for dropping the bodies off a little bit. So maybe I had a little bit of a bone to pick, and I was a little, I had that little grain of salt in my keister there that was already pissed. And I was also upset because, for those that don't know this, I had to take a shit that night. I did. That is no joke. I had to. I could not get, when the new team came in, I could not get one of them to come up to my roof to take my position so I could go take a crap. And I was pissed. Like, dude, I got 2 D-boys here. I got 3 JRS guys. Bub already went to building C. Will somebody come relieve me so I can take a crap? Nobody would come up to my rooftop. And that's when Boone said, dude, I got your sector. I got it. Go take a dump. I shimmied down the ladder and I got back up. And why that, and it's funny, but why did that piss me off more than anything? It's like, what, are you guys afraid to come up? Come on, let's help each other out here. And they didn't ever come to the rooftop in any of none of the firefights to just support and supplement our positions.
How long were they there?
Breaks.
Like, when did they get there? And then there was still firefights when they showed up?
Well, the last firefight happened. That's when Bub and Rowan died.
That's when the first group
got there, right? The movie, actually, the timeline on our movie is spot on. I mean, that's what I do love about Michael Bay. And he got that timeline pretty damn, almost 99.9%. But they came in, they had been there before the attack. They probably got there 20 minutes before the mortars hit. But when you come in and you're a supplemental force, you're somebody that's coming in, that's 101. That's infantry one. That's not even special operations. That's infantry 101. You come and relieve the guys that have been fighting for the last 8 hours, and at least give them a break so they can go splash some water on their face, get a cup of coffee, take a dump, and that's basic infantry. That's stuff you learn in basic training. So I was already kind of pissed off at the time.
How so we haven't even got to the 14th hour yet, but how long was that ride to the airport?
The ride, it was about 10-15 minutes, and it was
nothing happened on that ride. It was pretty uneventful. You got to the airport.
It was pretty badass. So we were the biggest, baddest. I've been in a lot of motorcades, whether it was with other foreign forces or with Blackwater or being supplemented with the U.S. Army. And that motorcade was monstrous. It was, I mean, I felt like Jolly the Green Giant.
How many vehicles?
We had 40 vehicles.
Whose vehicles were they?
They belonged, for those that don't know, that militia that came and saved us, and actually the militia that took out the mortar team for us too. We didn't get that into the movie, and we did, because we didn't know it until the hearings came out. The Benghazi Select Committee by Trey Gowdy. Henry testified, our little interpreter. He's a U.S. citizen now. He actually came and testified, and he's the one that got that militia to take the mortar team out for us, then come get us. They belonged to Omar Gaddafi. They were Omar Gaddafi's militia. So if that isn't the most ironic thing in the world, we were in Libya to overthrow the most evil man in the world. Oh, this guy's terrible. He's going to destroy. Omar Gaddafi was no threat to us. And then on top of that, his militia or himself, he's the one that saved, the ghost of Omar Gaddafi saved us that night. And that's something that should be out there everywhere in the media, and it's not, because of course, well, why would it? It makes one party look bad, and it makes people idolize in this world look terrible. But we were saved by the person that we went out there to take out. Cool. And